We're at Mungarani, about 300 k's to go to Birdsville, and it's raining. It's bloody raining, mate. Can you believe that? Good timing. Well, we're in Birdsville at the roadhouse here, topping up with some fuel, and you wouldn't believe it, it is raining. Not hard, but it's been raining for hours. The tracks and the roads coming in will be wet and probably surely closed for a short period anyway.
Holy mackerel, it's cold.
You wouldn't read about it, would you?
Cold and wet.
Unbelievable. How much is fuel in Birdsville at the moment anyway?
$4.75.
$1.75 is pretty good. Alright, that's it. Getting ready. Yeah, you'd be going, mate, wouldn't you?
Can I have a keys to your cruiser?
Yeah.
I'll give it a crack.
It was so nice to be back on top of Big Red, looking out over the desert with very, very few wheel track. Still, no one had been up and down Big Red. You could see the big lips on top of the dune. But you've got to start there. After you've been to the pub and had a few drinks, or whatever, your next stop is definitely Big Red to take in that absolutely spectacular view over the desert. Birdsville Roadhouse, a few days, so many setbacks, lots of rain, water. Anyway, we finally got permission to go. And there was quite a few people in Birdsville this morning before we're gonna head off. And you know what they did? They didn't think they were gonna get permission, so they legged it. They're gone, they're not even going across. But we are, there's a little sign there. Little sign there, got the permission, went and seen the info office, parks, we're out of here. Flies. Well, we're proper in the bush, finally. After the Madigan being shut, cars blowing up, breakdowns, rain, permits, all this stuff, we're finally heading towards the biggest parallel sand dune desert in the world. Had to do a bit of a detour. We are coming up the Warden Track, which turns into the K1 line and actually goes right up to Popel's Corner. From Popel's Corner back to Birdsville, the road is shut, but we've been given permission to use this track, which is fantastic. So soon enough, us and all our guests are finally going to be in the sand and hopefully leave these bloody flies. Well, we weren't able to take our normal route. They'd shut the track up to Popel's Corner, so we had permission to shoot up the Warden Track, which turns into the K1 line, so we had to do a bit of backtracking down to Birdsville. Right, well, we're cruising up the Warden Track. No one's been up here for quite a while. We've got a friend at the back there. He came up here early last year, but it's not one that gets used very often. Finally, after some big swamp country and some pretty rough, gravelly kind of mud flats, a bit of mud, we're starting to get into the desert, and our first dunes are in front of us. You can see this track. Magic, absolutely crap now to be out here. First sand dune, you beauty.
Not much of a sand dune.
Ah, but it is one. Oh, look at that!
The Warden Creek and Warden Track's named after Major Warden, who was a South Australian explorer. In 1859 or around there, he was one of the first Europeans to discover the mound springs, sort of down around Maree, and which opened up the exploration of Central Australia and John McDougal Stewart through the heart of the country.
It's all pretty easy driving up between the dunes to Popel's Corner, which incidentally I've been corrected on. Apparently it's pronounced Pepples, but whatever, in Australia it's spelt Popels, so we'll just stick with that for now.
Well, I'd be turning around, I think, or coming back, driving forward.
Whereabouts was the original thing? I don't want to go there. Yes, she does. She wants to drive out. Where was it?
Well, it was probably straight out of here, because they used to get latitude pretty right.
It is an amazing story. In the book, she talks about the land of necessity.
Yeah, little beacons along the border, because this border is the only border in Australia that hasn't been land surveyed between here and the other side of the Simpson Desert.
There is a bit of a diversion around this salt lake because it's known for getting a bit wet, which we took. It took about an hour or so to go around before we got to the other side. Yeah, righto, bring us that phone. Poor unfortunate travellers that were stuck out in the middle of the salt lake. Wouldn't surprise me if there's still a track topaz out there on our next trip. Might recover it and get myself one. Anyway, beware of salt pans. They are dangerous things and I bloody hate them. Alright, we're going to make it. We're going to get very close. We're bouncing off the limit of the trailers behind us. We're bogging down a bit, but I think we're going to be alright. That shit house. We made it though. We made it. The educated guess and a couple of cars already over, we knew this one was going to be okay. It didn't have the clear signs of massive water puddles at the very start of it. We'd walked it and then we sent the lightest car across first. Have a look at the concentration. How's my knife, mate? Is it sharp?
It's nice. Just no Mick Dundee knife, but it's a bloody big knife.
But one thing had became apparent that in the quietness of traffic over the Simpson over the last year, 18 months, those southeast winds had scooped out massive holes along the track, particularly on top of the dunes. This one was in between, really, but the wind had just scalloped up massive holes, and quite a few of them we had to fill in before we tackled them. Otherwise, we were going to end up like this a lot. But anyway, there was no damage done and it was all good. But that was one thing being first across that we noticed the whole way along the track. One of the things you want to master in the desert early is knowing when to button off the throttle as you crest the dune, or you're going to send yourself skyward and do some serious damage. I absolutely love driving the desert. It's one of the most picturesque places to drive. It's incredibly beautiful and fun. It is very much a challenge, but still, for the most part, it's beautiful driving and no dust. But it wasn't long though before we had a bit more mud to contend with on some salt lakes. I mean, that was quite a wet year. As well as a bit of mud, we also had a lot of those wind-blown holes in the right-hand side of the track, which was lifting the front left wheels of the cruiser everywhere we went. It's bloody tough work in the Sahara, isn't it, mate? Anyway, time for you to get some work done and recover the 70. It was here where we succumbed to another one of the big windswept blown holes on the top of a dune.
Just like that.
Even for the vehicles without trailers, some of these holes would just smash you into the side of the sort of embankment there. So once we discovered them, we needed to do a bit of work on some just to fill them in and smooth them out a bit, just so everyone else could come up and over without doing any damage. Yes, they are all different white 200s, I know. It does make video editing tricky though, but see if you can spot the difference. The trailer's not going up there. It's too bouncy. And this bloody hole would have swallowed your car. We definitely needed to put some time in here, but it didn't take long again, and it made it easy for everybody. Always best to test out the Juco damage using the guide vehicles first, and not too bad. We're good to go, and all sweet to bring up the white 200 fleet and the 79. And then something new for me too. We dropped down and visited the lone gum, which wasn't such a lone gum anymore because it had sprouted off a couple of offspring, which was pretty nice.
Yes, I know, he's got baby. She. We'll have to call her a she. She's got baby.
pretty much knew from the get-go we weren't getting up and over this with the 70 and the trailer on, so get as high as we can, back it off, and then set up for a snatch. The key is, when you stop spinning your wheels and don't dig holes. Look, 9 times out of 10 in the desert, it's easier and quicker just to do a little snatch recovery like this, because you're generally at the top and you just need to get over the crest. Well, there you go, guys. We made it to Mount Dare. You all did a fantastic job. Everyone's just rolled in here a couple of days early. It's been a heck of a mission getting you guys here, but it was a really, really good trip and I hope you enjoyed it. We did some things that I'd never done before. You know, coming up the Warden Track, K1 line, dropping down to the Lone Gum. You know, that was all good. I hadn't done that before, but I hope you enjoyed the WA line. A little bit of the French line you got to sample there, and the rest of the trip with the Foss, the Guru, and all the service we can try and give you. So anyway, hope you had a good time. It's time now to go and enjoy a beer with the old man in the Mount Dare Hotel.